Morning, everybody. It's the 22nd of January. Can you believe that? Amazing. And it's a very dramatic day here in Les Abdelone. They still haven't done anything about the fishing boat that's on the beach, but they're going to chop it up. I think the insurance company was trying to assess in the first few days whether they could actually drag it off, but they can't. So, anyway, that'll be quite fun. But the dramatic side is the sky. It's unreal. It's blue sky. There's all these amazing clouds, and it's early in the morning. Some of them are pitch black, like not cumulonimbus, but and some have got the sun on them, and there's big, we have gulls here, flying around. It's very cool. So anyway, here we are. It's day, jeepers, I'll have a look at the day in a minute when it's going through. Pictures are interesting this morning. What we've got here, don't forget Boot Boat Show's on. If you haven't ever been to Boot, it's actually worth going. And the German Association is there with a 580 with hull number 65. Thomas is 66. Thomas's boat, and Tobias is who's running the show. The German Association doing an amazing job. 17 members in there already. Forward planning on an event or some sailing activity for the association later on. I think 3 of the members are already sailing, and the others I think the others are all building. There's only a couple there that haven't started building yet, so that's kind of fun. And we, you probably saw. I should come back while I'm talking. We issued a press release last night, and we didn't mention it because we were issuing a special 580 press release. Hopefully this afternoon, just talking about all the things going on with 580, ALMA Globe 580, Class Globe 580, which will be kind of interesting. Anyway, so there is a lot going on. I'll come back to the other pictures in a minute, but if you haven't been to Boot and you're close, it's worth going to have a look. I've been there, done Boot Show probably 7 or 8 times, or more than that. Going back to '84, I used to be a marine equipment importer, and we used to come over once a year to do the European boat show circuit and pick up stuff to sell. Anyway, but it's a great show, quite impressive, but I can't get there this year. Lots going on. Anyway, what can I tell you? I will just go straight to the tracker. I think it's I won't call it boring trade wins, but when there's trade wins, it's more trade wins, and that's what we've got. So I'll go put you on the tracker. So you're on the tracker now, and I'm on the tracker. You can see all the way across the Atlantic, South Atlantic. Trade winds, fantastic, and it's all being generated by this very typical South Atlantic high. There's Cape Town over there, running in a counterclockwise direction. So everything's very traditional, and that's basically why we selected the timelines for the course. And the whole of the course was set up to evolve around a departure from Cape Town at the end of December, because that's the target, that's the best time. To get that for our boats, when we were talking about coming across from Mauritius down here, we were maybe a little bit early, but that's okay. We would have rather been early than late, because we didn't know what the timelines were going to be coming down the east coast of South Africa here. You can see there's a pretty typical buddy system as well. And you'll remember when we were going into the early start of the trip down the coast, we were like 4 days of southwesterlies and only 2 days of northeasterlies. It was early in the season transitioning. I've just seen this now, but as you now get into this season, which is January, that's more traditional, and you'll get more. I haven't been following the weather at all down the east coast of South Africa, but I would assume now we're probably in a system where you've got 4 days of northeasterlies and only 2 days of southwesterlies, because this is peak season for coming down there. But then you've got to be careful, because you get a few situations here where if you leave late, if you're leaving by the end of January and so on, you get more of a potential for some interesting weather as you leave in Cape Town. So we're still on track, and I think overall the course across the Pacific and the Indian Ocean and everything we've set up on the idea of the race actually has worked pretty well. And it's not rocket science, because all the guidebooks, all your, Jimmy Cornell and everyone, it's just typical trade wind trip around the world. And I can remember when I was 18, reading all the Hiscock books and, Eric and Susan Hiscock and all the people that are going around. Even back then, they were saying if you plan your trip around the world, working on the weather, you can sail around the world in a little over a year and you may not see weather any more than 30 knots all the way. And then over the last 30, 40 years, when I see some cruising boats, especially coming out of America, why am I talking about this anyway? This is just diversion conversation. Coming out of America, we used to quite often see boats that would end up in Fiji heading down to New Zealand. They'd never put a second reef in their main. They'd never put a second reef in their main. One reef was the most they'd ever done. And they see sort of 25, 30 knots. Oh, jeepers, we're all doomed, So yeah, there's a lot to be said if you're. I think it puts an interesting perspective on it. Yeah, good passage planning, all that sort of stuff. Sensible sailboat, good sailors, building experience, getting around. A circumnavigation of the world is eminently possible. Even though you don't need to know how to use sextant nowadays, but it's kind of fun. And certainly our little fleet of 580s booming along. So what's happening here? Besides the fact they're all having fun, and I'm detecting that they're all, contemplating the meaning of life, looking back on where they're at and what they're doing. I'm not going to say it's easy now just to get from here to Recife and then across to Antigua, but certainly it's pretty much Tradewinds all the way. We discussed that yesterday. So they can feel relaxed. I know if I was on board now, as much as you're still going to lose sleep and you're going to still have squalls and you've still got to do the work to push the boat because it's only your effort that's going to get there. It's really a pleasant time for the fleet right now, and long may it last. Okay, we didn't check how many days. We've been out there for 332 days and 20 hours. Big discussion at the moment in the Entrant updates about how long it is. Is it the longest race in the world? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'll show you some of the conversation in a minute when we do the Entrant reports. Enough of that. So here we go. Tradewinds. Boom, boom. Josh, 4.8 knots and 114 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. That's not too bad. A bit of a race between the trail enders here, or the lead group of the tail enders, because this is all one with Josh and Entrant. Entrant's here 4.9 knots, 114, same as Josh. Jasmine, 116, 2 miles pulling away from Entrant. And Eric, 5 knots, 121, pulling away from Jasmine. And Kerry, 5.4 knots, 130, pulling away from Eric once he passes him. So you can see that the positions there are all well earned. The fastest boats are moving forward. Anyway, so Kerry's trying to keep up with the leaders, doing a good job. Christian, 5.4, 129, pretty good. He's out on his own. 5.4 and 131 for Adam, sailing well. So took a couple of miles out of Christian. Peeler still can't quite catch Jacob, but she's working on it. 136. That's pretty epic. 136 compared to Adam, 131. So 5 miles on Adam. And Jacob, 137. I love it. That's really cool. How far apart? I wonder if I don't think they're talking on VHF, but they'd both know where each of them are, and they're both struggling to catch up or hang on to what they got. So they're actually only about 9 miles. That's VHF range. So that'll be a bit of an interesting conversation. Only a couple of miles behind, or very close. In fact, while we're here, let's just see what the leaderboard's saying. 69.5 and 71.9. So 69.5 and 72. So only 2.5 miles in it. That's a bit of fun. Okay, moving right along. Here we go. Dan, the holiday man. 5.6 and 139. Right up there with the fleet. But now I'm too scared to look. Renault, 142. Okay, I think that's the fastest for the day. I thought 139, yeah, 142. Jeepers, my memory, eh? Kerry was only on 39, 36 or something. So, yep, once again, Renault's got the fastest speed of the fleet. That's amazing. Wonder what he got up. 5.6 and 142. And Dan is on 139, 3 miles in it. It's pretty impressive. 3 miles is actually that's a pretty good chunk to jump ahead in a day. So once again, Renault is showing that he is without doubt the fastest boat in the fleet. That all looks a constant green to me. I don't think he's had any weather advantage. He's just sailing better. Maybe he's not cooking banana cakes. We haven't heard about the cooking for a while. What are you cooking, Renault? Or you're just eating cheese and crackers to stay in front of Dan? And yeah, Dan's desperately trying to get there, although I think probably by now. I mean, he'd love to win one leg. I know that. So, yeah, that's the reality. Renault's run every leg so far. Jeepers. Anyway, it's never over to the fat lady sings. You know, having said all that, the difference between, okay, Renault's on 66, or no, 67. He's on 67, and Dan is on 67. He's on 90, 67. That's quite a chunk. So that's near enough. 70, 80, 90, 23. About 23 miles behind. Okay, so we'll come back here and look at the weather for the next couple of days, even though we know it's going to be boring. Tradewinds. Oh, that's going the wrong way. Here we go. Boom, boom. You should say boring Tradewinds. When you're out there, it's fantastic. Tradewind sailing is absolutely brilliant. They'll be getting some. Oh, they're out of the auroras. See, the world is being bombed at the moment, not by that little baby, but by the sun. Big solar flares everywhere, auroras everywhere, popping up in crazy places. So, hang on to your hats. And here we go. I'm about to press this every. It's not going because I used the dingo. Okay, we're running through every couple of hours now. Looks all pretty much the same as what we've got now, maybe getting a bit softer as we mentioned yesterday. So in the next couple of days, they're going to slow down. Yep, for sure. That's quite a bit. I'm going to scroll that back and look at the big picture. Yeah, there's some soft spots between here and Recife, but I think they'll still make the 1st of February. Oh, not. I'm going to roll this through a couple of days and see. Yeah, it's softening a bit. So they're 100. I don't think Renault will be doing 140 miles tomorrow. Maybe 139. But anyway, 25. There's 3 days into it. It's still pretty good. It can get very light on this leg, but it's holding quite well. You can see here up on the. Here's the doldrums here, and it is always the widest over in the east, and it's narrow in the west. But boy, if you're leaving Recife now, you got boom straight around. So this may slow them down. It may slow them down when they get up by the Amazon as well, because they've got to swim out, watch out for stuff. But the weather this is right on peak season for the trades. It's fantastic. There we go, 29th. So we're up to a week ahead, and they'll be getting very close in a week. So I think the slowest we're going to see is like 120-mile days for the leaders, and the tail enders might be doing 105 and so on for a couple of days, but generally they're there. So the distance on average, we'll pick the average fleet to Recife. We've already said that, 130, so that's about 10 days. The average time for the fleet is about 10 days, which is about the 1st or 2nd of February. That's when they're going to be arriving, touch wood. I don't think there's anything dramatic on the currents. Let's just have a look anyway. Currents for the world. No, it's all just pretty normal. Wow, look at that. It's going to be fun when they're up there. They'll want to get in there and hook into that if they can. That's a bloody ripper. We discussed this a week or so ago, I think, when they were leaving. But that's a really big push there. The currents of the world are all changing. It's a whole thing about the climate and the transition and global warming and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but that looks pretty strong. That will give them a big boost towards Antigua. I think we're running out of things to talk about here, so I'm going to come straight back. We can look at the clouds, but we know it's fluffy. There's not a lot happening there. I don't want to bore you with the details, but I'll finish off before we get under the questions. So just come back here to the pictures, because there was a couple of things I wanted to talk about. Boot. Don't forget Boot. If you haven't been, go. Oh, this was a good one. Joe Vavash, we actually displayed his beautiful build boat. This will be hard to see. You can't see it, but I just wanted to bring something up about Joe and his blog when he built the boat. It's now been sold to a new owner who's looking to do the Transat this year, I think. He maintained a lot of statistics, and you'll see that little box on the bottom with all the little white lines. That's all his build times, right? So Joe Vavash's build in particular, which is hull number 46, if you want to get onto the blog of hull number 46 on the ALMA Globe 580 website, if you go to resources or extras, and you get onto the blog, and there's like about over 100 builders there now. His blog in particular had a lot of statistics on the number of hours, because people say, it's going to take you, 2,000 hours to build the boat. It doesn't. He built his structure in 500 hours, which is what we always said in the very beginning. 500 hours, you're going to have a boat, and then you got to bolt things on and do bits and pieces. And also he kept track of his costs back then as well, which also showed that in terms of hardware and bits and pieces, it's not as bad as some people think. But certainly buying an existing boat is a good way to go. So that was what that picture was about. I've used this logo for a while. That was the very early one, 24. We're doing it now. Hard to believe it's nearly over. This is interesting. I just realised when Trekker went around the world, of course, they didn't have to worry about UV on sails, because originally it used to have cotton sails, I think it was, the first lot. But then he went over to some Dacron later. Graham will have the stats on that. But sales are a bit of a topic, not only here but in the Ocean Globe race as well. That's our fully crewed Whitbread one. We're having a big meeting on the 6th of February to discuss many things, and sailcloth will be there, because we say Dacron, but you can get better Dacron with a little bit of high-tech fibre in it that lasts forever, and it's more UV resistant. Something I always keep forgetting to mention, that if you're a builder and you're building and melting your keel, remember you can turn into a big thumb-sucking baby like that bloke that's in the news everywhere by absorbing lead fumes. When you're melting lead, jeepers, just watch it. I'm horrified at what I used to do when I was a kid, melting sinkers for bloody things and dive weights. We used to melt our own dive weights and all that sort of stuff and just cooking it up on a camp stove. But the gases coming off lead will absolutely zap your brain. So anyway, there you go. So be very careful when you're building you're getting your lead together. This was a fun shot. That was my very first sail on Trekker. That was the very first sail of any of the 580. Sailing down the harbour, we had I forget his name now, a really nice guy who was the designer of the Quantum sails, and he wanted to have a look at the designs, because we were the first ones these were the prototype sails as well on Trekker. Wanted to test the design of that and all the asymmetrics and so on, and it was we went out for 2 hours, and the very next sail was about 8 months later when I left Lagos. There we are there. It was a very cool day, and it was the only time I sailed the boat, and then we ended up in Lagos ready to head off on the Transat. So I had 2-hour sea trial. But anyway, and we don't talk often about the storm jib. I actually tested it out on one occasion, just as a test, and it actually works. It's quite surprising to have a little boat like this, but if you're in extreme conditions, it's very easy for the wind to blow the boat over on side, just with the windage of the mast and the main on the boom. You laid flat. That's what happened in one of my just a little windstorm, not a huge storm, but just a windstorm. I had 18 hours under bare poles the night before, which was fantastic. Did nothing, just went down below, went to sleep. Anyway, but the storm jib is potentially it's a very effective sail. It worked out really well, being the baby stay there and so on. So that's compulsory on all the boats. So that's cool. And then there's the pull down test. The boats are proven. I remember when Yanis and I were talking about the boat, excuse me, and he was, we saw the preliminary drawings and stuff, and I used to wonder, geez, it looks like a little keel. I would have thought it would have been a bit deeper and a bit bigger bulb because it's only a couple hundred kilos or something. And Yanis really knows what he's doing when he's talking these little boats, and it's turned out to be absolutely fantastic. So we'll talk a bit more about that as we get towards the finish, but it's a vindication of what he does and what he knows. My main input was just on some of the concepts, and bits and pieces, but not the actual design. The design, I really liked what he was doing. It had to be simple, and I often say most things will float and most things will sail, but the 580 is really good. And I know there's still an ongoing discussion about the rudders, but I'm had a big discussion with a few of the entrants about the rudder and what they're saying. But really, every time I come back to it, what they're saying is they just want to increase the performance of the boat. The boat's not unsafe, so I'm still not inclined to be doing anything with the rudder for those that are worried about it, because the rudder works. It's just that it's like having a car. If you've got a Mini that you're racing around, you can do things to the Mini car, rally car, to make it perform better, but it's performing quite well the way it is now. And yes, there's little frustrations with any boat, but the boat itself, it's an amazing little boat. So stand by for that. Okay, there we go. I'll waffle on a bit, and it's all fun. So Hamish, g'day Hamish. We need some more New Zealand builders. Oh, jeepers, this guy. It just reminded me. We've got a guy with our first agent for the 580 in New Zealand dropped off, and so we didn't have one there. And I've got a guy there, but I've been so busy. I said, "Oh, I'll get back to you. And I didn't think I did. Anyway, hopefully we'll see some Kiwi boats coming up soon. But I've got to get onto that. Ed Kluder, post some pics of the fishing boat. Oh, you've got me interested with your description. Thanks for reminding me. Okay, I'll give you some pictures of the fishing boat tomorrow, which is an amazing story. It's a big one on the beach, on the rocks, on its side. Can't drag it up the beach. Can't drag it back into the water. It's sitting there. They've taken all the fuel out of it. They pumped the fuel out. There's a big hole in the hull. There's a hole in the hull that you could walk through. And that happened the first night. So must have been in a tank. And there was some people talking about the smell of diesel, but I don't know whether it was a diesel tank. I think it was just a hull. Anyway, so it's environmentally stable, sort of, at the moment. It's smashing up some rocks and bits, but that's not so bad. And yeah, they're going to have to cut it up into pieces now. They've done that with another fishing boat here 3 or 4 years ago. So anyway, yeah, I'll put some pictures up tomorrow. Ada's, if you get onto Ada's site, she's got everything there. She's following it really well on LSTV. She's covering that. Milady, g'day. Adrian, hull number 291. I still can't sort my blog out. Building the boat is easy. Driving computer is a different game. Face orange, different game. Face orange, raised eyebrow. Okay. I hope you're meaning that you're having trouble getting your blog together rather than us putting it up on the group building there. There's a few builders that haven't got their blog up yet. I'm not sure what I can do there. The best thing you can do is if it is just about the technicality of getting the blog up, try and talk to your kids if you've got any, or find some younger people. They probably do it like really easy. And if you're really having trouble and you can't find any friends that give you a hand, then send me a message on Facebook. I'm assuming we're friends. I'm friends on Facebook for most of the builders, and it's a good way to get short messaging rather than email, blah, blah, blah. Just shoot me a message. I can't do much because Jane's the one that does it for me. She's my techo, and very busy last night with the press release that finally got out. It was a bit of a funny one. It was all about people. We're trying to... It's funny, when I write the press release, each one's got a different feeling. We had absolutely zero quotes from any entrants in that one. And anyway, I'll share it onto Facebook this morning, but it went out last night about midnight. And each one's different. So, but it made me realise we've got a lot of stuff going on with the class, with the 580. So I'm going to do a dedicated one today. Some amazing things. The class is really quite wow. So that's cool. Anyway, so yeah, good luck with your blog there. We've got some really good build stories going on at the moment. But anyway, all fun. So I don't know what else I can do to help you on that one. Anyway, we look forward to seeing it when it's up. G'day, MS Capiti. Global sail racing is highest endurance sport on earth. Being solo is just incredible. That reminded me to give you the Entrant reports. I can put it on my computer. I nearly forgot. Yeah, it is. And the 580 is making history. The Mini Globe race is making history for sure. Kathleen, checking in from the coast of Mississippi. G'day, Kathleen. Fort Lauderdale. G'day. Yeah. How many? Messages right. I think. How many is the max amount of entries in MGR? Okay, MGR it's 20. I think it is. GGR is 20 and OGR is 20 as well. No, GGR is 20. It's 25 and 4. 25 for the GGR. We got quite a lot. I think we've got 8. We don't talk about them yet, but I think we've got 8 GGR entries already for the 2013 GGR. We got swamped on that because I had there was about, I don't know, I must have got up to about 14 or 15, 16 people talking to me regularly about 2030, out looking for boats, or already have boats, and they've already started their refits and this, that, and the other. And I think this is crazy. We need to lock them in. And so we opened the entries for the GGR a year ahead of schedule. Normally we don't do it until a week or so after the start of the previous edition. So it's a 4-year lead time. But this one's now 5-year lead time, and we've been getting boom, boom, boom. And they like it because that gives them a degree of certainty. And it means even though we don't publicise, we won't list the entrants on the website until a month after the start of the 26th race. At least they know they're going, and they can talk about it to anyone they want. So that's what happens there. And OGR is ramping up as well. OGR got a really exciting meeting on the 6th of February for the Ocean Globe race. We're just about to do a press release next week for that. Some interesting stuff going on there. And I have no doubt that the OGR is going to be another interesting event. It's going to be great. So Cape Town's back on the agenda. I had some great meetings with the boys in the waterfront there. So Cape Town for OGR is on, and so's we've got, the course, I'm confident the course will be Cape Town, Auckland, Punta, and then we're looking at the start-finish port. So there you go. Larry, I think that's it. How's the flat plate keel work on the rudder when surfing turbulence? It's fantastic. You just got to sit in the right spot, and it shakes your spine. It hums a bit and vibrates. So ever since we launched the 580, there's been a big movement. That's rubbish. It's never going to work. We should be. I shouldn't say a big movement, but some people would like to have a different sort of boat. I think the 580 is the perfect boat, and a flat plate keel is really cool because it's very simple. It's very strong, very reliable, and it's not complicated to build. But it does potentially hum a bit, and there's certain things you can do about that. The way you taper the trailing edge or keep the leading edge stuff. So it can hum a little bit. No one talks about it these days. They must have got used to it, but it's not annoying. And we could make the keel faster. We could put shape into it. We could do all the bits, but you're banned from doing that at the moment because we just don't want to go there. The beauty of one design racing is that all the boats are the same, and it doesn't matter. You could have a bathtub and you could have blah blah blah, but when you've all got the same boat, the trick is to drive that boat the most efficiently and sail it the best way you possibly can because you've all got the same boat, and that's why we've got the same sails. That was a big controversial decision at the time. I said, no, you're going to have to buy these sails. Boom, boom, boom. But it's worked out pretty well because that there's no sail difference. The sail's not driving you faster than the other guy. So potentially that saves you money and effort and this, that, and the other. And then the boats are it's not Olympic standard one design, but they're pretty much all the same, similar boats. So the keel is fine for what we do. It's very solid, simple, reliable, touch wood. We could make a faster keel. We could make faster everything, but why? So anyway, good question. Cheapest Entrant updates. Let's go here. Okay. Entrant reports. Yeah, big discussion from all on lots of comments on the. I forget. I'll read you some. It's a bit funny. Hang on. Adam was thinking. Okay, just okay. Started the conversation from someone. I forget who said it. Might have been Adam. Yeah, it was Adam. Is this the longest race in the world? I can't think of any other sport where you would race more than once around the world. Blah, blah, blah. And Christian was saying, I was thinking about that too. Might be the longest sporting event in history. Jake comes in and says, "What are you guys talking about? I feel like I'm just warmed up." So he's going around again. Maybe I don't know. Christian came back and said, "Are you going to do the Matessia?" That's Bernard Matessia would go 1.5 loops without stopping. Jake comes back. If I could only afford it, I'd never come back. Even the bad day sailing is better than good day on the land. And for me, the land is only the place where you prepare for your next sailing adventure. That's from Jake. And then Graham popped up and this and said, "Oh, officially, the longest yacht race is the Clipper event at 40,000 nautical miles. The Vendée Globe is 28,000 nautical miles, same as the MGR, but without stops. However, you get special consideration because your boats are only 5.8 meters, so you actually sailed further." Now, I'm not sure what that means, because if you've got a big boat or a little boat and start to finish, how does a little boat sail further? Relatively, the challenge about doing it in a little boat is there. And Christian's comment to Graham said, "Time-wise, question mark, Graham, the MGR wins in that one. The Clipper race only lasts 11 months, so you get better value in the 580. Geez, I like the Clipper boats, new boats, cheapest. You might have seen them. Oh, here's an official report from Jasmine. Number 2, St. Helena was just amazing. Maybe I'm biased as it is the UK, but still. Sad to leave land as always, but sailing along nicely. Hydrovane repair failed again. So another attempt seems to be holding for now. I wonder what's going on with that. I'm trying to think. I've never heard of. I think Jasmine's the first, and I've been exposed to a lot of hydrovanes with the GGR and all that stuff, and no one's ever talked about breaking the aluminium tube. So I don't know. Anyway, hydrovane repair failed, so another attempt seems to be holding for now. So she's patched it up. The support received from the swim, I don't really know how to react to, as it was just incredible. Big thank you to all who were involved. I think Brazil, although making land again will be great, I think will be very overwhelming, as we thought Cape Town was bad. I think that's the civilization anyway. Trying to embrace the last weeks we have, as it's all going to come to an end very soon. That's true. I think there's a few thinking about that. I've got to say, once again, Jasmine completely has caused me a major problem. A major, major problem. She's inspired me, made me realise that I'm a talker rather than a doer again. It's really interesting. I think I mentioned this the other day. She's completely, some things in my mind trigger me. And thinking of her swimming around the island, wondering what's going through her brain at night time, just stroke, 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 stroke. That sort of stuff to me is incredibly inspirational. So she's got me thinking, bugger. Don't tell Jane. Anyway, she's doing great. Hang on, I've lost the track here now. Yeah, so that was Jasmine report. Now we're in from Josh. Okay. Skookum. So far, we're going along well, if a little slower than I would like. Nice breeze, but the confused sea state makes it difficult to have enough sail up and still maintain a decent course, as when I put up enough sail for a decent speed, the boat is swerving all over the road like it's had too much to drink. Just have to be patient, and I'll arrive eventually, just savouring the beautiful sunny skies and clear nights with infinite stars. Too true. Josh is always very thoughtful. It's interesting, when he mentions things like this, because the entrants, they're, sailing, and I take the mickey out of them, saying, Tradewinds day after day, day after day, day after day. But there's, hour by hour to keep the boat going. There's things to do. And, it's interesting listening to Josh here. This is the thing. You're keeping the boat going within the capacity and the ability of the boat. Okay. So any boat, doesn't matter whether you got a 60-footer or a 40-footer or whatever, you can overpower it and get it out of control. And it's so much easier to do that sort of stuff with a smaller boat because they're little sails and you're quite strong. So again, it comes down to working with the tools you've got, which is one of the beauties of the 580. And it creates its challenges, but it's a super safe boat, touch wood. So it's a good tool to sail around the world, which all these guys and girls are proving. So anyway, that's about it. So thanks for following along again, and we will see you tomorrow if all goes well. So see you later. Thanks. Oh, like and share and tell your mates, all that sort of stuff. Get onto Facebook and follow us. Just say, yeah, boom, subscribe, whatever. See ya.